Crazy, huh? They're almost all behind bars or in the dirt.
Yeah, man, the shit's it's been dead. It's just getting worse.
Did you envision this?
Man, not to this extent, to be honest. That's the truth. Not the way it is now. No, I mean it's out in the open now. Everyone, there's no shame in all the things they do. But I'm just glad to be on the other side of it. Some people still, just at the beginning stage of going through the hell that we went through, and God bless them. I'm praying for them. Of course, it's ugly out there.
It happened fast.
Yeah, real fast. I mean, when you think about, man, Mayo in prison, the Chapitos, half of them are gone, cooperating. I mean, it's crazy. And Mexico's a mess. Mencho's dead, and that's a lot, man. The whole cartel kind of just gone.
Mexico suffered the most. Did we talk after the Mayo snatching? I don't remember.
I don't think I have, man. I haven't been on in a while. Busy taking care of the kids and home while Viv was gone. So I catch it. Like I said, I've been catching it. You know, mostly through you, Shy. I don't really get to keep up with a lot of things that are going on. Even with my brother's stuff, usually I watch it later on. You know what I'm saying? When someone shares a video with me, but a lot's happened since we talked last.
Which one is more surprising to you, that Mayo got snatched like that, or that Mencho got ended? I would think that it was more likely that something happened to Mencho like that.
Honestly, I felt like that was coming, for him eventually, or for everyone who's in at that kind of level in the game. I mean, that's what they're hiding for. That's why they got people with them, and that's why they pay off the cops and do everything because they're trying to avoid that. But the Mayo for sure has been the most surprising in the way it went down. I mean, that's crazy. And then the other part is that then people in the audience, everybody, wants you to be a soldier, to stay loyal to these people. That's the crazy part that they're fooled. Again, I'm not gonna ever gonna make no excuses for my situation. That's just my opinion on things. And lately, I kind of hear stuff shy, and I'm like, man, that's just my opinion. I don't have to voice what I feel about everyone, or I'm not the gatekeeper of everyone who says they were doing this or doing that. You know, but it just YouTube, social media is crazy.
You see how much they're lying out?
They lie like a motherfucker.
These websites are thirsty for clicks like anyone else. It goes all the way up to the Homeland Security's X page or their Instagram. Everybody is trying to get these views right now.
But I feel like no one exaggerates or makes a bigger lie of how ugly that part of the life can be. That's missing. Everything's like seems like everything's easy. Everything was good. But sometimes my question is, what's the future for all the gangsters? Like, what's that look like? Tell me that. Tell me what everybody like so hyped up for. You know what I'm saying? Like, where they at? Every street dude, everyone who's saying snitch this, snitch that, or be a gangster on the street. Like, where's the future in that? I don't think I ever asked myself that question. When I was running the street, like, what's the future really look like? I mean, I feared that it was gonna be death or spending the rest of my life in prison. But while they glorify it, like, tell me what's the success story behind that?
There's also the disingenuous lies like the no snitch code, right? The fake loyalty shit. And they tell you, oh, you could never get out the gang. You in the gang forever. You gotta live and die by the gang. You either go to jail. Bullshit, man. A lot of these dudes, youth pastors right now, these dudes is soccer moms. Some of these dudes made it out. Some of these dudes turned around and went to the crib.
Yeah, that's the stories I think that people should be listening to. Like that you made a couple of mistakes and you change your life around and do the right thing instead of just being on that suicide mission just because you made one bad choice and you got your peers around you kind of dictating your life and you're not man enough to say, hey man, I don't want to do this or I don't want to spend the rest of my life in prison or I don't want that trouble, period. But that's why I ask myself, like, well, everyone pushing that thug life, like, where does it lead to? Like, where's the check at the end? Where do you retire from, or what's the plan? A crash dummy? Just that simple question. Ask yourself, like, where your boys are gonna be there for you. No one's gonna be there for you. When you go to court, unless you got a co-defendant, you're on your own. It's just sad. I think it's sad that that gets pushed around a lot. I seen a video the other day where they asked someone, snitch or your family, or be a dad or something like that. And they're like, oh, I ain't gonna be no snitch. I'm like, so you're saying you're gonna pick some bullshit over your own kids? Are you serious, man?
My only argument is it's okay for some, it's not okay for others. Just stop believing the fucking fake code. Like Dog would say, trust somebody to be what they are.
My intention wasn't like to take this path, of course. I really had settled into thinking that, that was just gonna be it. One day you're gonna be gone. And I came close to it probably more than most people will ever. And it felt like you were giving up on life a little bit. You're giving up on your family when you're in those situations where you're like, man, I'm not gonna come out of this. And I told you, what's the point just to have some motherfucker say, oh, you were down or you were doing it, or you had money, and then what? My kids get left with a memory of that. It's a hard pill to swallow. The truth is, it's kind of hard to take that in when you're already knee deep in the game and there's no turning back. I mean, that's what it feels like. I mean, here we are looking, man, past it. Viv's she's gonna be home a year now, which is a man. Time flies, and man, the peace you feel to kind of put that behind you, I can't even explain it, man. Just to like not worry about your door being kicked in by by the feds, or you're gonna go to jail, or everything's gonna fall apart. It's traumatic, where it's hard to like let that part go. And even though you're in a new path, it's just always like this anxiety you feel, that it just never leaves you. Who wants to live their life like that? I had the unfortunate situation. I went through a TSA, and for some reason, over the recent changes in the law, where they did that terrorist act, right, where narco traffickers are now categorized as terrorists or something. They classify me like on a 4S kind of thing, where now I go through all these special screenings just to get on the plane. And when my kids seen that, they panicked, bro. Like they were scared. Like why are they doing this? And they had that traumatic experience that on one of those trips that my wife took while she was under investigation, they did that. They held them back, and
So this was like a recall to that.
yeah, they're like, man, what's gonna happen? Why are they doing this? Kind of ruining our first trip together, And it was like, it was sad to put your family through that. They don't deserve that, I'm not saying that I'm not playing victim of it. I mean, those are the choices I made, but that's how it kind of stays with you. The kids don't deserve that. Like I said, to live with that drama. I try to do the right thing and change my life, and I mean, it's part of the life. It's not supposed to turn out well for people like us. This situation, the kids kind of had to live through that, and it was terrible to our family, to them. At least we get to show them, hey man, you can make some mistakes, but you keep trying to do the right thing, and good things happen. And like I said, man, we're super happy to be past that. And Viv has a lot to say about her, what she went through. It's never what we wanted for her, or did we ever imagine that we'd be dealing with this situation, 15 years down the road or 17 years down the road. Man, if you could live the peaceful life and not be tested that way, man, just go for it. For the street dudes out there, unless you got mad M's in your bank account, bro, I'm talking about that's gonna last a lifetime. All that shit's gonna be taken away from you. You're renting that life. I don't care who you are. You're renting your that respect you got on the street. That shit, nobody's gonna give a shit. It ain't gonna get you anywhere. The money ain't gonna last. The lawyers are gonna take theirs. The government is gonna take theirs, and you're gonna be back at square one, or worse, starting from a negative. And I feel like it's something that we learned the hard way. But look, man, if you got that hustle in you, if you're good at making money in the street, and you could do things, man, there's so many other opportunities if you just make time for that. I wish that more people believed in themselves more than they do now. Cause bro, I mean, once shit hits the fan, everyone's gonna regret it a little. Yeah, I used to tell that to people we'd bring on, straight up shy. Like it wasn't something I wanted for everyone. Like I really cared about people like throwing their life away. I remember talking to people like, hey man, when the shit goes bad, no amount of money that you made is gonna be worth it. I promise you. And I used to always try to tell them, man, whether it was a truck driver, someone doing something for us, like how much money you need, bro? Could I help you? Do you have some bills you gotta pay? You need something to catch up on? I'd rather give it to you and let you go back to living your square life. At least I felt like I blessed someone rather than bring them into the business and then see their life fall apart. But there was a line though. There's a line, but I say, bro, but if you decide to do this, you in. I don't want to hear shit later. Like I'm offering you opportunity to take a bag and take care of your bills, do whatever you gotta do, but if you want that big money, you want to chase it, man. That's on you. I'm not gonna. I don't want to have that on my conscience. Seeing my wife in prison, going to visit her, that was hard, man. Seeing my kids like having to leave my wife behind, and I can't even explain in words what that's like. And she's right here. She got to experience what I went through, and she suffered on her own. And you can't make this shit up. We thank God every single day for the blessing of just bringing our family back together. Like I mentioned to you not too long ago, I think through a text, that we just celebrated our 20th anniversary, and being married 20 years through all that, it's like a huge honor to have a wife like Viv, and to kind of be just trying to make up for the lost time, if you want to say that. Man, if I could have had some good direction early on, and maybe I could have walked away with a big bag, and done something different. But when you're young and stupid, you feel like that's it, that's your life, and everyone is doing that, everyone is just on some BS, and There's no one there to say, hey man, we could, invest in this and we're gonna, make this happen. People always say, man, well, why don't you take your money and do something else? And I used to be like, well, at my level, I wasn't looking for more money. You feel me? Trying to figure out how to find some peace in that life. Trying to make it work. It wasn't supposed to work. I don't know how to explain it. For us, it was a career, bro. It wasn't like I'm trying to do it for the street dudes or for the block or I was just, trying to stack the money and build something that was gonna last that wasn't supposed to last. And I'm surprised it lasted that long. I guess you have to be placed in that where you have no choice, have that mentality where like, hey, I have no choice but to do something different. I'm one of them people now, bro. Like, I don't want to take a red light. I'm finally off probation and it feels like, I'm happy just doing the right thing, man, like everyone else. I told you one of my biggest things I used to think about was, if you want to call it, I was like jealous of the person who did it without having to break the law. The dude who worked 9 to 5, who put 20 years into something and now is well off. You gotta admire that. You gotta respect that. You doubt yourself sometimes, bro. You feel like that's all you know how to do, and it holds you back. Being from the shy and coming to different places, I tell Viv sometimes, I feel like, man, there's so much opportunity for a street dude, bro, for a hustler, because people are real, like, laid back, real, like, comfortable in different businesses. And I failed. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Maybe you try something, you fail, you get back up. But it was the same on the street. Don't think that everything you did was always successful. You know what I'm saying? You took L's and you came back. What's funny though, I think about certain things like even my first barbershop I opened, man, it's been open for 26 years. It's still open today. And then you think about that, like, man, just a simple idea and it's still there. You know what I mean? It does kind of tells you, man, well, you kind of had the right mindset. You're just too stupid to realize it.
This is the benefit of looking back in hindsight, but that's the lesson to be taught. That in hindsight, the man knows, minus the
Mhm.
fear, minus the lack of confidence in self to do those things, minus the fact that you guys had everything primed and prepared for you guys to keep doing what you was doing. For the guy that's out there now with the money, you have the opportunity.
Yeah, and then what are you afraid to lose? Fake ass people around you, fake ass respect is fool's gold. You feel me? You don't have it. Them feds come and they come knocking your door, bro. It's over. The game is so fucking rigged against you, bro. It's like it's sad that you're even in it. And then they could play dirty. If you want to call it play dirty, they'll come after your family, your mama, your grandma, your wife. The mother of your kids. I mean, they'll do it all.
The amount of shit that I've learned over the last 3.5 years on this channel, covering Vicentillo's book, covering Cartel Wives, covering Surviving El Chapo, covering all these stories, it's just painted a different picture than what I know. I come from the neighborhood. I know they don't know these things. Some of them ain't gonna give a fuck.
It's in black and white. I mean, more than ever today, you see it. Like you can't deny that Weddle kidnapped Mayo and turned him in to get a good shot coming home with the feds. I mean, how much more do you need to see how dirty the game is? The sad part is that all them people that were big shots, or what you want to call a hitman, that had that notoriety, that are on corridos, they were giving them up first. That's the only reason they found them was because they were being given up. And like you see that they have the cops on the payroll. They got to feed the beast. And it's easy for them to tell the people doing those raids and doing that, hey, that dude, we want him dead. You know what I mean? Like, don't take him alive. Dude's there to give up his life for you. He thinks he's part of the team and you're betraying him. So think about all the dudes at the bottom. What chances do they have?
Zero.
Zero. I knew I wasn't important enough to think that they were gonna spare me. Imagine if I couldn't make them money anymore. I think for the intelligent people, you got to be honest with yourself of what you're dealing with, right? Now you got the fools who just cover their eyes and shit and their ears and pretend that everything's all good when you see the betrayal right in front of you. But it takes a lot to say, man, this shit is fake and walk away. And then remember, then now you're going against a whole mob of idiots. Like I said, that the truth comes out. I mean, everyone can see it. It's on black and white. I don't like to dwell on it too much because I'm just happy to be, past it.
We were talking the other
Mhm.
day about when La Barbie got locked up in that polo shirt and how everybody wanted to wear that fucking polo shirt. And it's like, did you know that the guy, sat there and he testified? All of you guys that talk all that shit about snitching this, snitching that, you wanted to wear that shirt.
I think they're gonna pick and choose.
It's inevitable.
Yeah, it's sad though. Like I said, it would be sad if someone idolized me for the dumb shit I was doing. I think people gotta pick better heroes. You know, I mean, that's what I mean. Like I admire the 9 to 5 dude, the dude who did something from nothing. They're out there. What messes it up is that the street kids, Instagram, like or YouTube. Now everyone wants to be the street dude. It's sad, bro. They ain't doing it for no money, bro. That's for sure. I was one of those pendejos too at one time. You put on some Jeezy on the radio, bro. I was a baller. I was a street dude. Just glad to be here, man. Glad to say hello to you and to the whole chat. I see them all, man, bro. They're loyal.
Salutes to
They're
the usual
loyal.
suspects, man. I got the best
Yeah,
chat on YouTube, and nobody even
you do,
knows it.
man. And to be honest, I don't really see other channels. I usually just go back and see what you've been up to. I followed the book and I was listening in, waiting for the next chapter to come out. It was super entertaining. It's weird when they mention so many names, so many things just to have known so many of those people. I hear Jay talk about it too. It's weird because during our time there, we got to see everyone at the top. Those up and coming names. I don't think a lot of people have had that opportunity. Even like the person you talk about, like La Barbie, like he was stuck on one side of things. Him saying I know him or I met him doesn't mean that they were intertwined. And for me and Jay, like we really were able to deal with these people, get to know them, do business, and that's just a different aspect of it. I'm sure there's people who took our place and are doing it big. I feel bad for them, to be honest. I think that, like I said, I see it changing. I see it's gonna be a little more invisible if they're smart. You know what I mean? But I think the music, the social media is gonna make it hard for people. But again, if you're smart, if someone came and told me, man, look, dude's dead or dude's gone, go ahead, take the spot, I'd run from it. I don't want to be the next target. I'm good. Fools do that.
Run from it knowing what you know now, or would you have run from it then?
Shit, I ran from
We
it then. I
we
didn't
ran.
want no
Yeah.
part of it.
Hey,
Bro,
hey,
like I
hey.
said, all I want to do is get some money, bro, some real money. And when we talk about real money, I mean, I don't think people, we're in different kind of, when we talk about what real money is. And if you had the spotlight, if you were that dude, you're in trouble.
Hey, Peter. Hey, Shine. How you doing, bro?
Shout out Jay Flores on the check-in, y'all. Salutes to Quality Control and Jay Flores in the building.
Peter brings up a good point. Different levels to the money, right? But when we were offered a few different spots, or you guys want to call them plazas or whatever, me and P were like, man, that's for dummies. We're fools. We got money. You put somebody else, put another fool with the place. Just think about it. They think about what comes with that.
Right.
You know what, Shai? I think it depends on people, right? Like you. Do you want to make money and have everyone know you, or do you just want to make money? You know what I mean? Who are you as a person, as an individual? And I don't get to talk to my brother that much, but he did reach out to me, and in terms of the Owen Hansen video, he said, "Hey, bro, you straight up, honestly," he said, "you sound like a hater," and and I was like, "Damn, I sound like a hater." I probably do. I don't have nothing against people like that. I'm in the field of this is our world, right? And we just see things differently. And I think that for my brother and I, our relationship with the real drug lords, right? With real cartel, the big ones and some up and coming ones was unique. We had those relationships, and we see the cartel differently. Like we see the cartel for the bosses that we were. They see the cartel as the word and as what they see on TV.
When they would offer you these plazas, when you guys would turn them down, would there be any like pushback or looking at you like, what the fuck?
Nah, because they knew we were smart. They
I
knew that
mean,
we
or
were
they
smart.
knew
They knew
that
why.
you're not dumb. I mean, how about that? Not to just run, you're not stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, you're chasing different things. But to Jay's point, like sometimes, sitting back and you see people out there telling their story and embellishing a little bit or exaggerating or straight lying, I feel like, man, good for them. They're selling it. They got the views. They're probably selling something behind it. Whatever works, bro. Good for them. Like, who am I to even comment? Or I have my opinion, but does it have to be heard? Not necessarily. It is what it is. It's not like I'm gonna come back and be like try to vet everyone who has a cartel story. Like, okay, my time has passed. I'm not celebrating it. It was we lived it. We're on to some other things now. I would love to be able to share the story for the right reasons and try to like really make sense of it. Maybe have people listen and lend their ear to just what we're saying about the life. And I don't care who you are, you're not an exception. And you have the people comment and say things. And I just feel like they've never been in a position to lead. They've never been a boss, and they want to comment on somebody else's shit. I guess that's what you expect. I don't like it, bro. I'm just like, I'd rather just focus on me. That ain't gonna make me no money shitting on someone else or
Yeah,
calling someone a liar.
yeah, and I think for my brother, I think he has a good point. I guess maybe because I'm more in the field of this, and when he says like you if you're selling something, that's good. Like I'm not hating on him, someone trying to change their life, but I think the embellishment of the life and some of the stories I call out, and I do it for my brother. He's probably gonna be like, "Don't do it for me," but because now what they say is the real thing, and what we say is bullshit, right? And
No,
it's
but
like,
let's be truthful though. There's a time where snitching or telling or whatever you want to call it was it meant complete silence. Now everyone's on YouTube and Instagram and all these channels saying I ain't no snitch, man, but I was hooked up with all these people. I was selling all this shit, and bro, if you ain't telling, you're not doing it for some reason. Shut up and go and just mind your own business, right? How does that help you? Like, dude, oh, I never told on the Jefe when I was doing all these things. I mean, you're telling now. You're telling everybody what you were doing. I think you see that a lot on YouTube, and it's just weird. Just to justify, hey, you're against telling, but you want to tell the whole world what you were doing and who you were doing it with. Everybody wants to be in the spotlight and say what they're doing or what they didn't do while they're criticizing you for being a snitch or a rat or whatever. They're out there trying to get their
but
story across
that's a good
and
point,
putting it
Pete.
on a book and shit. My life in the sea. You know what I mean?
That's a good point, Pete. So, do you think, are you shy, since we're supposed to be like the only ones that really and accepted that we were snitches? Don't you think that that's our right then, to be able to say, yeah, I snitched and everyone knows it, and our position and who we were and our backstory kind of gives us, or gives me, I look at it like the chance to be like, oh well, my opinion is that your story's fake based on my knowledge. But yeah, okay, good for you.
For me, it's different. I didn't sit at the table. I didn't do what you guys did, right? But I've always, even in my music, felt the responsibility for motherfuckers in the street to have the truth, for these kids to have the truth, right? So for me, it's different. For me, if it feels like bullshit to me, I'm just gonna say that it's bullshit. Again, I don't feel like I'm the gatekeeper either, but I feel like there needs to be something else on the menu. Somebody that's gonna call the bullshit and say, "Yeah, this don't sound likely. It don't sound likely that you took one key and you stretched that shit to 2.5
To
keys."
two and a half, right?
You know what I'm saying? It don't
No, I'm
sound
with
likely.
you.
It don't sound likely to me. And guess what? Me being at my age, coming from where I come from, just with those credentials, never the credentials that you guys have, just with those credentials and the fact that I have a mouthpiece that I use confidently on screen, on YouTube, I'm going to say it, and it's on them whether they want to let me say it or they want to argue with me about it. You both have real points when it comes to one says, isn't it our responsibility to put checks and balances on these motherfuckers that are out here lying to these, and I'm not gonna just say kids, but this whole idolization shit can be killed if these kids know that these motherfuckers are pedophiles, betrayers, and pieces of shit.
No, I'm with you,
Yeah.
and that's what you do. Like I said, that I appreciate that you do that. You always keep it honest, whether it's against me and Jay or not. You're gonna keep it honest, and your opinion always has a lot of weight to it. And people just want to ignore it, and they like who they like, and I appreciate you do that, and that's kind of your niche right now. You're gonna keep it real. You're not gonna say what everyone wants to hear, and but it doesn't make all the clicks that other people get, which is weird. When I see someone giving an interview and they're speaking to someone who was in the life with some real credentials and they want to relate to him, I laugh. What do you know? Yeah, let me tell you how it was. Right? Was that the supplier? Get out of here. Even the interviewer, like you gotta. They're trying to play the role like they're that kind of dude. Just because you read a bunch of books on there or whatever, it doesn't make you a street dude. That's kind of weird to me because they always want to relate to the person telling the story like they were in their shoes or something,
And you
which
know,
is
the other
bullshit.
thing is too, just because I like the platform because it's the only one that keeps it honest about everything. We talk about pedophiles, right? And I think me and my brother, for the most time, we're honest about it, and like you don't have to question our credentials. You could YouTube us, right? Google us and put Pedro Flores phone calls, you know, Jay Flores phone calls. Like we're on there. Like we don't say that we knew El Jefe. El Jefe said he knew us. It's there, but Even in some of the conversations that we have about the culture, I get all these comments saying, well, who are you? You're not the gatekeeper. I watch different podcasts about retired NBA all-star dudes come and they give their opinion on the game. I think that if we put that analogy, I think that me and my brother are up there in the Hall of fucking Fame. I played the game, and now you're a spectator with a no name, and you're gonna tell me I'm being a gatekeeper because I'm voicing my opinion. People will give their opinion, be like snitch, rat on news feeds about us. And now you do interviews, people do interviews, and I can't have my own opinion. This is gonna be a public service announcement. Like, because we're from Chicago, Shy, I know real street dudes, 100%. And I'll tell you, I was nothing like them. But because I never wanted to be, me and my brother never said we were these gangster killer dudes. We never said that. And I never wanted to be that. Oh, you were not about that. Like, look, I was in the street all day. Those are facts. Born and raised, Southside, little village. We were in the street all day. I can't compare myself to a Chicago real gangster. Like, you could keep that. That's for you, 100%. But also don't take away from what we were.
Everybody wants to paint that picture where they have it all. Look, man, just because you were doing it, and I don't believe there was anyone doing it in the city bigger than my brother and I at the time for a long time. Doesn't mean that everyone liked me. Doesn't mean I had everyone's respect. There's haters out there. I don't care who you are, whether you're Big Meech or Chapo Guzman, bro. You tend to just have enemies for no reason and haters. That's just the way the life goes. But I think that everybody wants to paint this picture where like they had it all together, like they had so much respect on the street that nobody dare F with them, which is bullshit. There's always a crash dummy willing to take a chance. Everyone's trying to paint that picture of the biggest gangster in the city or in the neighborhood. Really, man, most of them ain't shit.
No, that's true.
The truth is, most of them ain't shit. People in the comments, like you, just worry about yourself, worry about what you're doing. We're just trying to give you advice, man. When you're on that path, it just leads to bad things. I mean, that's the honest truth. I mean, I wouldn't probably listen, but it's hard to listen when you got bags of money in front of you.
Yeah, but
But
the
I,
truth
I, I totally,
is when they don't even see the money, P, and they think that because it's people like us trying to give advice, they're like, oh, we can't listen to that. Like, don't, all right, you just see the whole picture, right? And like on YouTube, right? Like I've been seeing Big Meech give a lot of interviews and stuff, and I feel bad because like I know he's trying to push a positive message, but all your messages with the money that you spent that you got illegally, what kind of message is that?
But that's how I feel about the Barbie. All your messages is, oh, they're doing good for us in jail. They're giving us opportunities to be good men and not torture nobody when we leave. I feel the same way about him.
I want to tell you something, Sean. On that end, bro. Like he's locked up already. I feel like there's a chance for for himself to work on himself and redeem his life a little bit. And I'm not saying that anyone should forgive him or he deserves a pass, but people make mistakes, bro. The circumstances behind his life. I mean, we're not aware of. We're just like I said, we're giving our opinion, but he's suffering through his own thing. I've had moments in prison where I was happy too. You know what I mean? I was happy to have a date to come home to my family. You experience a lot of sorrow, but in that end, like without judging nobody, like you never know the circumstances. And I feel like if he's turned a leaf in his life and he's doing something a little totally, completely different, well, good for him. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not sticking up for him. I'm not trying to.
And I hear you. My point is, have we ever heard him send a letter where he denounced the cartel? He sends a letter talking about Trump. He sends a letter talking about Josh Smith. But has he ever sent a letter for anything else?
No, I'm with you. You could pinpoint that, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have a different stance on his life, right? I mean, when I was in prison, the only time you heard anything from us when we were crying about wanting to come home early. There wasn't a lot of communication with the outside world, but I understand what you're saying.
But
I don't
also
feel like that tells
on
the whole
that,
story about anyone's
I
life. You know what I mean?
on on that subject, and let's stay true to the Il Cartel channel. I know that the culture respects Barbie, sadly, because he was a killer. He was a real cartel member. But here, for example, here you have I guess, a real cartel member, a real killer, a real dude from the street. You have what's his name that's always been commenting about Craig Pettis, and we keep saying that we never said Craig Pettis was who he was. And people in the comment, people in your channel, your community is great, and you also have a great group of haters, right, Shy, that don't really listen. They spend too much hating. But here you have on the both channel, you have someone like a Barbie, right, who does have the accepted credentials, and then you have someone like me and my brother who have all the credentials, but they're never good enough for anyone. And kind of, but we're preaching almost the same thing, right? The only difference was that me and my brother were probably the only ones that really turned our life around in the middle of us being at the peak of our drug trafficking career, right? And we changed our life. I do believe that when my brother and I do speak, it's for a positive message. I mean, this week I had the privilege, and it was the first time, and I was a little bit nervous too. I spoke to 800 inmates across, I think it was 6 state prisons, county jails. I was thinking a lot about what I was gonna say, and I just kept it basic. The Eminem. Look, I'm known as one of the biggest cooperators in the world, but there was reasons for that as well. And I said the same thing about envying the regular person that able to go to work and that never had to kind of be weak and fall into the money and to the street life because we were not strong enough to do the right thing, right? Because we were weak minded. We gave everything up and basically not had to crawl up back from negative just in order to be that regular Joe again. And we're not complaining about it at all. I know my brother sure not, and I know that even our wives just came home from doing a prison stuff and dealing with probation and all that. Still to this day, it's like we're man. I feel blessed and I'm thankful.
When I look at dudes like LaBarbie, I'm not putting them in a category with you guys. A guy that took joy out of what he was doing. And I'm not saying that there's no redemption for him spiritually on his own in his own world. And I feel like, miss me with the redemption, I feel like I can't blanket everyone with it. I don't feel like a Jeffrey Dahmer can get redemption. I don't feel like,
Well, Sean, I also believe that redemption is earned, it's not given. So there's a lot of work to do there.
I want to ask P, man, we ain't talked in a long time, and I know you don't want to shit on these motherfuckers. Maybe you could just say a name and just say, or not say a name, say a circumstance. Is there anybody out here that you be like, man, shut the fuck
Shut up, bitch!
Shut up.
Shut your fucking mouth!
That's on the internet?
Oh, that's a
Mm,
great question.
I
That's a
mean,
great question.
I guess you hear a lot of people, you just disagree because you have a whole different outlook of things. What's funny is Viv says the same thing, like, man, get the out of here,
Get the
And
fuck out of here.
again, but that's just my feeling about it when they tell a certain story, and I feel like who's the stupid one, the one buying this bullshit or the one selling it? So I feel like that's what people want to hear, and that's what people want to believe. At the end of the day, I mean, why shit on them, bro? Why even go there? What would I get? Nothing. I just say he's just painting a different picture of what that life is really like, and I wish they would speak up and say, hey, it wasn't all fun. This is the truth about it. Someone coming from that life ain't out here smiling and telling a story, laughing about it. Like that's not the way that's not what the life
Well,
does to you.
I would love to hear who is specifically you're speaking about because I would just love to hear because one thing and before you stay, I do want to acknowledge because what happens is that me and my brother will have conversations of people we do like that we're like, oh man, that's great. But before we get there, I would just like to hear like who's that one person that you feel like you don't want me to sound like.
Most of the time, I'm gonna criticize my brother more than anyone. Like, come on, bro.
Okay.
God damn.
So basically, my
I
brother's
think
saying Jay, you're a faker, bro. You are just
nah.
like
I'm
a
saying that my
commentator.
brother and I, like, I care about him intimately. Sometimes I don't know if he comes off the wrong way, but no matter what, he's telling the truth about everything. And
That's what matters.
like I said, if I see a like Johnny Mitchell part, and he's like, yeah, relating to the group, and then you're removing him for this price, right? Because that's the way it goes, correct? All his idea of the way things run is weird, bro. Like it's out of a handbook. Like there's some structure that a corporate company made, and you're gonna turn to page 84 of this index, and you're gonna find a rule for that. It's bullshit, bro. I mean, it doesn't work that way. I think like such a program, like everyone is under one
So
rule, or everyone does things a certain way. It's not like that. It's like me saying I was the only one doing things this way, and that's just the way it was. I mean, that's bullshit.
It's fluid. It,
yeah,
it moves.
Yeah.
that's a good example. It's not fluid, but that's a really good example because one of the things I seen in the comment, Shine, we talked about this. Someone said that I'm stupid because that really happened. That the cartel sent Owen Hansen a list of people he should cooperate against with a lawyer.
I mean, it could have been true. It could have been someone who knows. Like I said, maybe the circumstance, the way he says, is not doesn't come off right. Maybe it was a little flunky he had. Who knows? When it comes to that story, because I listened to it more through you, is that, and I did the interview. Like, bro, the government don't take you and then ask you, do you want to testify and put you in a fucking courtroom and say, go ahead. Nah, they prep you for months before that. Like, what are you gonna say to this? What are you gonna say to that? And I speak from experience, right? That they're not gonna take you out there and say something to hurt them. It's bullshit. That's bullshit. That doesn't work that way. So people got it twisted. The government comes and they see what do you have of value. Tell me everything, and I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna work on. But you're not just gonna go up there and just tell your story and they're gonna hope it sticks. That's bullshit. They're not gonna fly you to Australia unless they know what the hell you're gonna do. You ain't that important, bro. You chill out over a lawyer who got 2 years. That's bullshit, bro. You know, come on. It just makes no sense. Anybody listening should understand that's just not the way it works.
So also, you
But
know what we didn't comment on was that he said he was making $1 million a day. I don't know if that he's saying he was making $1 million a day profit
yeah, we say
or
that a lot, but let's just say he was. So what? Let's just say you were. We're all end up in the same place, cooperating in prison, trying to go home, crying about it. Even those things, like I said, they're gonna embellish a little bit. That's what they do. You know what I mean?
I feel like your brother quotes you often where you say the fake shit is become so prominent that they doubt the real shit. I'm seeing what you're saying to be true.
And I believe that with a whole heart. That's why I tend to just stay away from the nonsense. You gotta like defend so many things, man. I see comments like, "I know somebody who did it and they quit." Good for you, man. Good. I wish I would have done that from the beginning too. I believe that there's dudes doing it. I'm just saying that, but climbing that mountain, bro, to the top, and you don't know what the hell you're doing. That wasn't easy. Not everyone gets there. The way they make it seem, I'm sure there's street dudes right now getting it and quit and move on with their lives. They know how to hustle right. That's good for them. But we're talking about all the people who didn't do it right, who out there, who got a name, who ruined their lives, who end up hung from a tree
yeah.
somewhere, from a bridge. Those are stories we're talking about.
I think that me and my brother right now, for real, are fans of Takashi 69's delivery and some of the points he makes.
I love Takashi. I love that he keep it real. He's intelligent. He says exactly what he feels and he thinks it through. I mean, you might not like his delivery or some of the things, but he makes really good points, man. So if anyone I could appreciate listening to is him.
If I get Takashi on the line to come on the show, you and Jay come on the show with Takashi.
Bro, he might not talk to me. I'm a
No,
snitch.
He might not talk to me because I didn't like him before he was a fucking snitch. So it doesn't matter. But but
Nah.
but here's my thing. I will say this, and Jay often asks me, and he tells me about Takashi. I'm watching what he's doing. Yeah, like you said, his delivery, whatever. Again, I wasn't really fucking with him before that, but he's not lying.
Yeah, I mean him. I appreciate like when someone speaks the truth about things, and like Charleston White, bro. You ever hear him? He makes some good ass points, bro. Charleston White, bro. He. I mean, you might
Charles,
not agree with everything, but he keep it. He keep it. Straight and honest, and he could back up his thoughts and his opinions with some real knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And he's good with the words, and I appreciate listening to him too.
you know what? I think both of them, I guess, are certified snitches. So we're in that, and I think maybe that's what it is that we like. Pete, is that someone that's hiding behind a facade or what people want to hear. They're going against the grain, but in
Hey man, but
reality,
can I say something,
it's the
Sean,
truth.
man? To be honest, not to interrupt Jay, but I'm not coming out here as a snitch, bro. I'm coming out of myself. That comes, thrown out a lot. We could talk about it, but I'm not coming out here. Hey, I'm not gonna defend that, bro, to no one. Jay, you do that a lot, bro. Like you've said it once. Everyone knows. Like, man, let it go, man. Whoever's
No,
not
Pete,
good for you,
no. Well, it's because I tell you this is because people think that we don't know that we're snitches because that's the first thing they say.
I don't care who it is. I was locked, I was in special prison with a lot of cooperators. Bro, I don't know where they figure that cooperating or a snitch equals a P. I think they got it twisted, bro. Like you come to someone, you better come all the way, or you never know what you're gonna get.
Alpo taught motherfuckers that. Cause Alpo snitch, he went and took a picture with him.
That's what I'm
Well,
saying is that, but even a movie like Alpo, you think he won't pull it? You act like that takes away your manhood or something. Like you're forgetting what we just talked about. All the heads are even. We're turning people in left and right. You know what I mean? And they'll cut your fucking head
I
off.
think what you meaning, P, what you meaning to say is that just because people snitch, then it doesn't make them bitches. Because there's a lot, like
Yeah.
especially think about this. Some of those cartel dudes, and most of them are all snitches. They
I'm
still
gonna tell
kill
you
you.
something. It's like let's just go back to the people that idolize. Man, Chino came out in 5 years. You think he won't pull it on you if you call him a sister to his face? Bro, let's give him this. But he went back to Mexico like, what? I'm here. I'm not justifying. I'm not glorifying. I'm just saying that they get it twisted where it feels like, if you did something, or even the people who try to cooperate in a silent way, they are who they are. I mean, it's a dirty game. Period. You're in the game. No one plays fair, and that's just the way it is. And I'm saying this because they think that just because I try to do the right thing doesn't mean I always did the right thing.
Yeah, people, but I'll be honest with you, bro. I don't say it to take away who you are or take
Nah,
away
no, I'm
where we
saying
are
that
in men.
because I,
I
I
say
don't.
it because of the comments. Those are the first
No,
thing
I
when
know, but
when they
Jay,
see the
you say
video.
all the time. You don't have to defend that. I mean, all the time.
I'm
Like I
not
come, we
defending it.
we We come to say what's up to the people here. What's up? Like, I'm not gonna call myself nothing but Pete Flores. That's it. I'm not gonna call myself nothing like that. I mean, like I said, that stuff. It is what it is. That's a blanket kind of name for a lot of us in the game. That's it, man. Like, you know what I'm saying, Shad? Like, I'm not gonna sit here and call myself that. That's not what I live by.
I see where both of y'all coming from. Listen, it's been my argument with the audience from the beginning, not the smart audience, not the audience that wants the rest of the story. It's been my argument with the overall audience from the beginning. Is that okay? These guys cooperated. They made their choice. Can we get the rest of the story without dwelling on this fact? The not so smart ones, they dwell on that fact. I see where Jay feels like he has to remind these motherfuckers, look, bro, we're not the ones lying about it. The Owen Hansons of the world are the ones lying about it. We already told you. Can we move on to the rest of the motherfucking story?
I'm not gonna say, hey, look, I did it because dude did it. Nah, I did it because I did it. But if you think that them people weren't doing it, you gotta feed the beast to survive in that world. Either you're feeding them money, you're feeding them people, or whatever you're doing, you gotta do it. You gotta play the game, and that's just the way it survives. Of making the government happy. At the end of the day, they're the pimps.
Vicentillo's book laid it all down for me. At the end of the day, the whole shit was built on putting people in jail. Period.
And I tell you, the putting people in jail was one thing, but remember, I always explain to you guys, if you're put in a situation where you're gonna have to do someone in for whatever reason, you're saying that you're willing to put a bullet in his head, but you're not willing to snitch on him. That's weird, bro. Like you somebody you broke bread with, somebody you know their family. You know, my thing is this, man. Maybe he'll do the smart thing, and cooperate too, and go home to his family one day. But they took away that from a lot of people. All them people that were close to him, you know, they were finding them and they were killing for a reason because that's the way they wanted it to be. That's the way they ordered it to be.
What you're saying is that when the cartel or the Chapos and the Mayos were training their people, they would rather just kill them so that they didn't have to worry about them snitching.
Yeah. So they didn't have to worry about them snitching. That's what I'm saying. They weren't just saying, they were saying, hey, I'm going to tell you where he's at. But this one, I don't want alive. That's why you got corridos of Manuel Torres and Macho Prieto and all these people that didn't make it, bro. Because they didn't want them to make it.
There's so much evidence out there of us and some of the people we talked to, but I think that the whole agenda of this thing. And my brother makes good points about, either they're gonna kill your snitch and a lot of people had it the worst way. They did both to them. That's just the world we got to see firsthand.
And wait, I'm gonna say something right now that people don't know. Jay knows, bro. When you make some money in that world, right? It's like on the block, bro. Someone who starts making money, doing better, they turn on them, bro, and they're setting them up to rob them. Everyone who went to jail, who they fell out with, became their enemy, quote unquote, because that's the way they wanted it. They stripped from everything, their family, the jewelry, the money, the ranches. They had people go sign that shit over. What kind of loyalty is that, bro? You know, you're robbing people, and people don't see that. All them people that went through it, I don't care if it was Nini or the Damasos or that, bro. As soon as they were gone, they were stripping them from everything. They're just robbing people, bro. You think these were people you were breaking bread with the day before, and then tomorrow they seen that watch you had in your hand. They're like, man, go for the watch. I want it. You're like, God
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah, that's the thing that they see. Like, for instance, Chapo's cousin Juancho, who was a very good friend of ours, who got caught while he was cooperating, and Chapo and the rest of the guys killed him. But not only did they kill him, then they went and took their family and made the family go to the stash and took all his earnings while he was dead.
Loyalty.
Yeah, it just goes back to what it is, and it's just crazy.
And Shine, then I gotta live with this shit at home. My wife be reminding me, like I was on mainline. Don't give me that shit.